Hey there and welcome. My name is Carlos Bertz, and in this video we are talking about how to get more or perhaps a better communication between the players. And we're not talking specifically about in-character versus out-of-character communication, because I mentioned that about acting and role-playing in another video. You can check it out. But I'm more focused on general communication between the players, discussing how they approach each one in the game in general, if they communicate and try to get a plan together or not. So the first thing that I believe it's important is kind of disclaimers. And the first disclaimer, and this is probably obvious, is I am not a professional. I am just going with some personal experience and some research that I did in my part, but it's not professional advice in any way, because there are people that they are professionals about communication, and I'm not one of them. On top of that, plenty of times these things, this idea that players are not communicating enough, this comes from the GM, DM, and so on. And this is something that is important to notice if it's really a real concern, or if this is just another expectation that you have. And this can be different expectations because of experiences, or perhaps from you watch some live plays and they have some particular way of playing. So it's important to know if this is a real concern and if it's not, and if it's just you as a GM or one of the characters, one of the players that has this kind of perception and not the other part of the group. So it's important to be with your mind the same place of that your heart, and that you thought about it, and which is your real motivation about it. But being perfectly candid and perfectly honest, there are some situations that this idea need to be approached and need to be sorted out or corrected, solved. And that's what I'm trying to do here. This is even a previous step from another video that I made about players cooperating between them, and you can check it out here. And this is even taking one step backwards, an extra step backwards, where we are discussing general communication. They are not even in the place to try to cooperate between them to make something bigger. It's even that they do not communicate, they do not speak with each other unless they are prompted by the GM or by the script of the session. So I guess that I already spoke a lot about these disclaimers. So let's get to specifics. And I will separate that between GM advices and PC's advices, so you can focus in whatever best focus or fits your current needs and what matters most to you. But going to the particular ideas, in respective order, we are going to the GM first. So trying to have other people to communicate is not easy at all, because you are not directly there. You are not one of the parts. So one thing that I do like is posing questions. And these questions they are usually more effective when you pose the questions in specific situations, like an important meeting, an important fight, an important event, party, ceremony, this kind of ways. They are going to speak with the king, they are going to have an audience, this kind of ways. And you pose the questions, and the questions themselves are important. And these questions, they need to prompt them to discuss. They need to be questions that prompt the idea of how they are going to organize themselves, what they are going to try to achieve, how they are going to achieve, which one of the parts of the party will try to achieve each one of the specific things. So this way, you prompt the discussion, and you kind of give some incentive for them to communicate and to be interacting with the other players. Another kind of thing is to kind of hint of what they should do, or if someone is better at something, you can do it in both ways. Either one character is trying to do something that they are not good at, and you prompt them, oh, there is some other party member that is better at this, so perhaps you go talk with them. If not, The other thing is, you are good with that, but the other one is also good, so perhaps they can help you. So this kind of way, you can try to prompt in both ways. Or even someone that's not good is trying to do something, and you prompt the quiet, okay, you are good with that, you are better than them in that, so why don't you approach them and say, oh, perhaps you let me do it. But be mindful that some people take the word of the GM as gospel or as the ultimate truth. And this is not something to tread lightly. So pay extra attention that you do not force your hand in them, because otherwise they will try to always get you as a thermometer if they are going the right direction or the wrong direction, and they won't do something unless they get your blessing or your approval as the GM. This is kind of an idea to have always in mind when you are the GM. Do not force your hand, because otherwise they will take for granted everything that you say. But this is the subject for another video, and now we are going to the other PCs. So if you are a fellow player and you want to have more communication and interact more with some other fellow PCs, the first thing is, be prepared to not be the center of attention all the time. You will not be in the spotlight all the time. These prompts and these helps in giving some other PCs, some other players, the space that they need to grow and develop. Some more active approach now is try to engage them and put them in the opening for other PCs, asking them questions, prompting them, perhaps in some scenes with everyone is involved. Highlight their strengths, say what they are good at, and if they can help doing what they are good at. This is following a little bit the idea of the GM, but now you are another of the characters, another one of the PCs. You can perhaps not put them in the spotlight specifically, because some people, they are not communicating because they are shy, so they are not comfortable enough to be in the spotlight yet. So try to not force them to a situation that will just make them be even quieter in the next session, but give them some openings and pave the way so that they can step forward by them and get the limelight available to them, so that they can be there if they feel like it. And it doesn't, if it doesn't work, if you put like your plan in their position and you want them to interact with the plan, but the only thing that they do is say, oh yeah, that works, we'll do that, or no, but they do not say anything more than that. The next step is trying to go one idea further and prompt them. Okay, next one, I don't have an idea. Even if you say that you don't have one, and you prompt them to describe what they think should be the best way to go, so that you try to put them more in how you should approach. If they still refuse to go to the spotlight, to the limelight, there is no problem with that. Just give your idea or give some hints of, or some pieces of ideas that they perhaps can just put together and put that on the table, and then you build the confidence. You are kind of trying to get some baby steps for them to be more comfortable, and you will go little by little, and this perhaps will entice them to further on and communicate more in the next session and so on. But above all, providing a clean and safer environment is paramount, because if they feel safe there, it's much easier to try and communicate, to try and engage everyone, not just another player, but also the GM. So trying to have the clean and free environment is the paramount for having people to feel more comfortable with speaking up and discussing and communicating. This is the video. If you like the video, like the video, share, subscribe. You know how internet works. Let me know in the comments if you have some players that do not communicate a lot. How did you try to put some other players to communicate more, or some ideas that you may have that are specific? And that's the video. So see you in the next one. See ya!